Hello everyone and welcome to the Performance Cafe. I hope you've had a great weekend, and in South Africa everything's a bit back to front. This is silly season for us. We have a lot of public holidays and tends to get to us from a productive perspective. But I wanted to speak about exactly that today. We often speak of stress, the negative side of stress, the fact that stress upsets our lifestyles, causes us to eat badly, sleep badly, not exercise. And when we're looking at productive kindness, obviously we want to understand the nature of stress, because at what point is kindness required? Now, innocent, you'll say, it's like, that's stress. We need to always, guard against stress. But actually, I'd like to introduce you to a concept called eustress. And the interesting thing about eustress is that it's the opposite of distress. Now, you would say, distress is the worst of stress. So what's the opposite? Well, the opposite is the kinds of pressure that we feel, the kind of stress we feel, that's good for us. Yes, indeed, stress can be good. And one example that we might not like, but that works very well, is exercise, right? When we are running, when we are doing cardio, when we are lifting weights, we are actually causing stress on our bodies. And our bodies fight that stress and heal themselves. And through that process, we get rid of stress, we build our bodies up, we build our muscles up, and we give our bodies better hormones and better chemicals to work with than adrenaline and cortisol. So what different kinds of eustress do we get? Well, oddly enough, having a baby is one of them. It is a very stressful time, especially when a young family isn't used to having a child in the house and they have to adapt. But at the same time, what a miracle and what a gift the child is. So buying a new house. Trust me, if I think of buying a new house, I think of all the boxes I've got to pack and all the boxes I've got to unpack and all the nonsense I've got to get rid of. And so that's definitely a form of stress. However, it's a new beginning. You're moving into a new home. You're starting what always feels like a new adventure or a new future. And so there is positivity to it. Now, oddly enough, this translates in the work environment. Because what if I've just been given a new promotion? How exciting, right? It's a new job, a new role, maybe new skills, maybe new people to manage. So although it's pressure, although I've got to adapt and adjust, at the same time, it's exciting to know I'm being rewarded for what I've done. I'm being rewarded for my inputs over a period of time. And now I can step up and I can just redo all of that again. And so it's quite interesting that in two places we find that stress is actually quite good for you. The first is by the well-known author and proponent of positive psychology, and his name is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Now, he wrote and he discovered the concept of flow, and he wrote the book Flow, Finding Flow, and very many others. He also happened to have met Carl Jung in his younger days. Right, so what is flow? Flow is that state where we are working, but we are under a certain amount of pressure to achieve, but at the same time, we know we just have enough skills to make it. And so what happens is we get really engaged in the process of achieving a goal or whatever it is that we're working on. And so what happens is we almost go into this state of timelessness, where we don't feel how time is passing by. We have no sort of sense of, oh, I need to rush and get this done. We just sort of go into this zone of flow. On the other hand, we've got the stress curve that most of us have learned about either in business studies or psychology. And this tells us that too little stress is as bad as too much stress. Ask anyone who's ever worked in retail on a quiet Tuesday morning. The hours just drag by. So what we see is that there's an optimum amount of stress, and that it's not too little and it's not too much or on the burnout phase. It's Goldilocks stress. It's just right. It's likely to create a bit of fatigue, but not exhaustion, not anxiety or panic or breakdown or pain. At the same time, it's more than being laid back and inactive. So when it comes to productive kindness, I'd like us to learn to ask, where is this person's stress levels? Because too little stress is as much as too much stress. And so keep that in mind, that sometimes when people come to you and they're feeling unhappy, it might be too little pressure, which is odd. We don't normally see that, but they might not even realize that's the case. See how fulfilled they are in their jobs. See whether it's keeping them intellectually stimulated at a level that is appropriate to them. Is it aligned to their purpose and their values? And then take the discussion from there and see what you come out with. So that was all for me today. I wish you a week of good eustress. If you've liked this, as always, please in YouTube, like and subscribe, and then remember to click on the notifications button so you'll know when we've got some new content heading your way. If you found us on Facebook or LinkedIn, lovely to see you there. Please give us your feedback, pop us some comments, like and share. Remember, there are many people in the world that might like this information, but wouldn't know where to find it. So we appreciate your help in getting these kinds of messages to them. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you at the Performance Cafe.